everybody! Today, let's crochet a very simple little doll after the hook is done. You can think of it as a little pendant. Its construction is very simple, so its hook method is also very simple. Perfect for beginners. It can also be hooked very quickly. Let's hook this cuttlefish together. So first, let's hook the body parts. Let's begin. Wrap the yarn around your fingers. Take it down. Lay the yarn and pinch this place with the left hand. The crochet goes in, wraps the yarn and pulls it over. And then you crochet it around. Pull this little loop. This is a chain stitch. So then we're going to hook single crochets. Thread the crochet in, press the yarn, and pull it over. Then what? Hook the yarns and put the two loops together. This is a single crochet. We mark the first single crochet. The stitch is a V-shaped shape like this. Let's take a look at the two yarns. Next, continue to hook the single crochet. The crochet presses the yarn and pulls it over through two loops. This is the second stitch, then the third stitch. Fourth stitch. In the first round, we hooked a total of 6 single crochets. The single crochet, we use the letter X for them. The first round is 6X. Take a look. Everyone, the 6 single crochets are hooked. There are 6 stitches. Then we pulled this little yarn tail really tight. This will form a small disc. We used a stitching method of a spiral hook. So after each round is hooked, there is no need to make this pull connection. We can just start hooking a new round. For the second round, we need to hook 6 increases. We threaded the crochet through the first stitch of the mark. Cross these 2 yarns horizontally. This is the stitch. Then we hook the first increase. Put the end of the thread horizontally on one side and hook a single crochet first. And then you mark the first single crochet. And then threaded the crochet through the first stitch again. Then hook a single crochet. This is an increase. One increase is equal to 2 single crochets in each stitch. And then we threaded the crochet through the second stitch. Hook another 1 increase. That's 2 single crochets on the hook. Take a stitch first and then take a stitch. The second increase is done. Then we hooked all the remaining 4 increases. The second round is to hook 6 increases. We use the letter for V. What about after the second round is hooked? There are 12 single crochets. Okay, the second round is officially completed. So we go in for the third round. 1 single crochet and 1 increase is a group. Repeat the hook 6 times. Let's hook. First, we thread the crochet through the first stitch of the mark. Hook a single crochet. Mark it at the same time. What about the spiral hook? Be sure to mark it well. And hook an increase in the second single crochet. That is, hook 2 single crochets in each stitch. Let's take a look at 1 single crochet and 1 increase. It's a combination. This round is hooked 6 times in total. We hooked a second time. There is a stitch hooked inside the third stitch. There is an increase hooked inside the fourth stitch. It was done the second time. How about this method? Hook all the next 4 times. So if you hook right, the number of stitches is 18 stitches. So let's take a look. The third round is complete. So what about the fourth round? We just hooked 1 single crochet in each stitch. Just hook 18 single crochets. The first single crochet must be marked well. Otherwise, we can't find the place for new beginnings. Everyone follow me. First hook this fourth round. 1 single crochet in each stitch. Hook these 18 single crochets. So let's take a look. The fourth round is officially completed. Now we go on for the fifth round. 2 single crochets and 1 increase is a group. Repeat the hook 6 times. Let's hook. A stitch is hooked inside the first stitch. Mark it well. Here are 2 single crochets. An increase is hooked inside the third stitch. Let's take a look. 2 single crochets and 1 increase. It's a combination. This round needs to be hooked 6 times. Okay, what's next? We follow this method. Hook all the next 4 times. And then let's see the diagrams. Just hook round 6 to 22. So just follow the diagram to hook. And we followed the diagram all the way to round 22. After the hook is done, we will lengthen this yarn. Let's make this tail a little bit longer. Later, it needs to be used for suturing. What's next? Let's put this last round of this place first. Make a connection. Let's take a look. Skip the first stitch we just marked. We threaded the needle through the second single crochet. And we found the last of the single crochet. Pick its back loop of the stitch along with this little loop below. Go through it together like this. So it's connected. The body part is done. It's very simple. So we're going to move on to the diagrams. Put this bottom of this cuttlefish. What about this negative? Just hook it. The beginning is 6x in magic ring. Then the spiral hook. Just keep hooking until the 6th round. I'll put this diagram at the bottom first. Everybody follow the diagram to hook. So let's take a look. After we hook the bottom, we put PP cotton in this body. Fill it in. What about after filling it up? We sew this bottom together with the body. Then we all know our final stitches count at the bottom. It's the same number of stitches as this body part. It's all 36 stitches. Just sew them 1 stitch corresponding to 1 stitch. That's it, okay? No difficulty. Everyone follow me. What about this bottom and body parts? Sew them together. So let's take a look. After sewing, we cut the tail of the thread out of the other parts. Cut the long part directly. So here it is, and we're done with the body parts. What's next? We need to hook the legs of this cuttlefish. We need to hook 8 for this leg. I've already hooked it in advance. From 4 single crochets in magic ring. I'll give you the diagram in a while. According to this diagram, we need to hook 8. As for the first 7, fill it with PP cotton. What about the 8th one? We don't need to cut the yarn. Leaves a long thread tail for direct suturing. And I'm just going to type this up on the screen. Okay, let's sew up next. What about these 8 legs? It's all sewn underneath the bottom of this body. It's very simple. Let's take a look. Just sew it in this position. Let's take a look at the suturing process. That's it. And then we're going to sew the second leg. Just put these 8 legs evenly like this. Just sew it all under this bottom. Everyone follow me and sew these 8 legs first. So let's take a look. We'll evenly divide these 8 legs. After sewing, what's next? Let's hook the eye. The whites of the eyes, to be precise. We hooked with a white yarn. Let's hook. First, take the yarn off and wrap it around your finger. Lay the yarn with your left hand and pinch it into this place. Crochet in. Wrap the yarn around it and pull it over to hook a chain stitch. Then we hooked 6 single crochets in the round. First stitch. Second stitch. Third stitch. Fourth stitch. Fifth stitch. Sixth stitch is good. After the hook is done, we will tighten this yarn tail, but don't pull it too tight, leaving a gap in the middle. Then, we threaded a stitch through the first single crochet. Hook the yarn and pull it over, straight to the back. Loop tensioning. Connect like this. Next, we hook a chain stitch. And then we did the second round. You need to hook 6 increases for the second round. That is to say, 2 single crochets in each stitch. Then the second one. The white eyes. The difference with the previous hook method is that we need to hook slip stitches to connect. No more spiral hooks. After each round is hooked, it needs to be connected. After the second round is hooked, there are 12 single crochets. So let's take a look. After the hook is done, lengthen the line. Leave a long tail. Cut directly. Then connect it. So this is the first stitch. Skip it. Thread the stitch through the second stitch. Find the last single crochet through its back loop of the stitches. Go through it like this with a small loop below. What about the whites of the eyes? You need to hook to. The method is the same. The other one, I've already hooked the whites of 2 eyes. What about after the whites of the eyes are hooked? We can directly put the eye part. Give it a pass right through the center section. Let's take a look. Just through it like this. What if it is to be stronger? You can use this glue. It's under there. Shake it again. It will be stronger. What about this eye? Install it on this body. You see, we're round. Let's just leave 2 yarns open for it below. Leave 2 yarns empty and find a place to go through it like this. Well, let's fix the eyes. Then we'll put another eye on it. Do you need to put this white part of the eye? Sew it on this body. In this case, it will fit better. Everyone followed me to sew. Let's take a look. After sewing, let's sew another eye. Just separate it by about 7 stitches. 7 stitches apart on the same row. And we threw the yarn directly to this side. Just sew it up. Transition directly. Also, sew the edge parts like this. Sew it like this. After sewing, pierce the yarn through the other parts. Take a look at the long part and cut it directly. What's next? Let's outline it again with black lines. The mouth part of this cuttlefish. We're going to pull 2 strands out of it with a thin yarn. Put it on top of this suture stitch. Just between the 2 eyes. Just outline a mouth. Let's take a look. Thread the needle out. And then span 2 to 3 stitches. Dress him like this from the neckline. Sketch a V-shaped shape like this. Thread the stitch from this place to fix it and thread it to another place. Take a look at the mouth and sketch it. It's very simple. Cut the long part directly. All right, the main part is completed. So in order to facilitate hanging on other items, we're on top of the head of this cuttlefish. Make a small loop. It's very simple. Let's take a look. Thread a stitch in this place. Hook the yarn. Pull over. Hold the end of the yarn. We hook for chain stitches. After the hook is done, thread the stitch directly on the other side to hook the thread. Pull it over and take it to the back loop to connect it. This is a pull stitch. Hook the yarn again. Cut directly. This part is hooked. Let's deal with the part at the end of the line for it. Tie a knot directly like this. Stronger. What about the long part? Let's just put the end of this yarn. Hook it into the body of this cuttlefish. This is perfect. When hanging on top of other items, just hang it directly in this place. Very convenient. All right. Thank you for watching. See you in the next tutorial.